Greetings, 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 everyone. It is, as you all have heard me say on such a regular basis. And I know, you know what, I'm not even going to say it's a broken record because I just love saying it. I love Tuesdays at this time because it is Being Brown at Work live time. And of course, I have another most fabulous woman that agreed to be a guest on this podcast and for this live tonight. I tell you, all of you, I am so extremely blessed that the women have come across my path. And Tricia, who you're going to meet tonight, we were just talking before I came on live, and it's like we just met in 2018, but it feels like it's been forever. It really has felt like it's been forever. So let me tell you a little bit about Tricia Ruby. She is the president and chief executive officer of Ruby and Associates, which is a structural engineering firm which was founded in 1984. Serving as president and CEO since 2011, Tricia has strategically transformed the business and culture, resulting in 300% revenue growth and attracting engineers from top universities throughout the region. In 2016, Ruby and Associates, a certified business enterprise, was ranked nationally and featured in Fortune magazine as a top 50 great place to work in small companies category in 2016, and it's been certified as a great place to work for the past 5 years. In addition, the firm has been recognized for its many accomplishments in exemplary engineering under Tricia's leadership by the American Institute of Steel Construction, the American Council of Engineering Companies, Michigan, the National Council of Structural Engineers Association, and the Structural Engineers Association of Illinois, among others. The firm was most recently recognized in 2020 as one of the 50 companies to watch by Michigan Celebrates Small Businesses. Tricia believes in giving back to the community and does so through involvement in a variety of industry and community organizations, including Judson Center, the Construction Association of Michigan, ACEC, AISC, and others. She believes strongly in encouraging girls and women to consider opportunities in STEM and served as chair of the American Heart Association Go Red, Go STEM event in 2018, aimed at empowering Detroit Public Schools Community District girls interested in STEM careers. That same year, Tricia, along with 4 other women, formed the ACEC Women in Leadership Group, which provides a national forum for female engineering leaders to network and advises ACEC leadership on advancing diversity initiatives. Tricia has been recognized throughout the years with honors and awards, including the 2020 EY Entrepreneur of the Year, Michigan and Northwest Ohio finalist, American Council of Engineering Companies 2019 Community Service Award, 2019 Girl Scouts of Southeastern Michigan Tough Enough to be a Girl Scout honoree, 2019 Cranes Detroit Notable Women in STEM honoree, 2018 Court Magazine Salute to Diversity Business Leader honoree, 2018 Rhonda Walker Foundation Powerful Women of Purpose in STEM honoree, 2017 Leadership Detroit class, what in the world is this? 39. Yeah, class 39.
39, yes.
And 2017 D Business Powered by Women class, and the 2016 Vistage Michigan Soaring Eagle Award. She holds a Bachelor of Science in Industrial Engineering from Purdue University and a Master of Science in Manufacturing Management from Kettering University. Okay, so it took me a minute. I haven't seen Roman numerals in how long?
Right, I know.
Oh my gosh. Now you got, I told you, everyone that listens to this, phenomenal women. Listen to her background and the focus that she's got on women in STEM, fellow engineer that we are to each other, and diversity initiatives. So this is why it was so important for me to have you on, Tricia. Welcome to Being Brown Live.
Thank you very much. That was embarrassing to listen to. So.
Oh, you are just so modest and humble. I could see your face as I was reading that. You were like, "Can we just move on?"
Right.
Yes, no, but that as I said to April Miller Boyce when she was on before, she made this same statement. All my beautiful guests, these powerful women, say that I want people to know what's possible for womanhood. What we can truly accomplish, and Tricia, as I said when I opened up. We met in 2018 and immediately connected, and had the opportunity to develop our friendship over the years, and either in initiatives that we work together in. Girl Scouts of Southeastern Michigan, you were my nominee. You were kind enough to recognize me with Alternatives for Girls. So we've done some things together, but we've also, over a glass of wine, talked about what I want to talk about tonight, and that is the importance of allyship. I mean, was important to you long before people all of a sudden woke up in 2020 because of a horrific situation. So Tricia, give me a little bit of a background of when did this become important to you? Why is it important to you? Why are you so intentional with the actions in your business?
That's a good question. I think it probably became important to me personally before I made it important to me corporately. My kids have gone to this amazing school, the Roper School, for, gosh, I'm on my 15th year there, having 3 boys there. And it is a school that really celebrates diversity in every way. And I loved being a part of that community. Like, that was church for me. That was being around people that didn't look like me, that didn't have, I'm not a very religious person, but there are, all different religions.
Yeah.
The LGBT community is very well represented in students and faculty and parents, etc. Everybody. I mean, it is a wonderful community of people. And I felt so at home in that environment. And I wanted that for my own children. But I didn't grow up in that environment. I grew up in a very white environment. And I like being around different people. So
Yes.
I think my world has always been enhanced by people that are different from me. And I've always learned from other people. So through going to Roper, the reason why the Roper is so important is that I attended a program that they give to students, faculty, parents, administrators, called SEED, Seeking Educational Equity and Diversity. Seeking equity and seeking educational equity and diversity.
Yeah.
So it's a program that it's a year long. It's I think 8 or 10 sessions that that I did as a parent group, and I learned so much about all the things that I didn't learn about growing up. And this goes to, our educational system on, all the things that we're talking about today with critical race theory and being blocked by states, et cetera. But just hearing a different, like the actual version of what happened in the world. Yeah. And I felt like it changed my heart. It was a life-changing experience, just going through that, knowing that I already enjoyed being around a very diverse group of people, but really getting to the heart of it just touched me, I guess is all I can say. Okay. And then going forward, in my business, if you look around, I mean, engineering is not diverse at all. Our industry, not diverse at all. And so fast forward, I guess, to 2018 when we met, agreeing to chair the Go Red, Go STEM event for American Heart Association for Detroit girls was so important. And while I was researching and talking, I came across this ridiculous statistic that in 2015, 6 years ago,
right,
only 937 African-American women got an engineering degree out of the 106,000 engineering degrees awarded. And I honestly started crying, and I'm like,
yeah,
it just crushed me, because as a business owner, we had been trying to recruit more diverse groups of people, and there aren't any. Yeah. So, at the traditional schools that we went to, there's one Black male student, and everybody wants them because they're amazing. because they've gone through every barrier
Right.
that said you can't do this and you shouldn't do this and there's nobody representing you anywhere. So, we've had to start recruiting differently. We now recruit at HBCUs at North Carolina A&T, which has been a great school to recruit from. And we're getting interns from there. We don't have full-time employees from there, but we've been recruiting from there for a couple of years now. But that statistic, it broke my heart, and it put a fire in my belly if it wasn't already there. That it's disgusting. I find it disgusting. I really do.
And that is the pipeline, right, into what we're dealing with today, right? The fact that the same similar statistics exist in corporate America, where you either do not have a woman of color, be it in an executive role, a senior, a C-suite role, at a board seat. You may rarely find them as even managers. They're mostly individual contributors and blocked from going beyond there. Tricia, talk to me a little bit about your belief from your vantage point, why that is. I mean, what's going on, or what has been going on, frankly, for years, that you have sought to change from a corporate perspective, so that the narrative could be rewritten.
So say your question again. Why is it that way?
Yeah, I mean, what do you think is at the root of it? I mean, as a white woman, what do you really think is at the root of it? Is it a we versus they? Is it a win lose? Is it truly the inability to recognize the value of what you recognized at Roper, and felt personally? From your experience and your conversation, what do you think is at the root of it? I mean, I know you probably don't have holistically the answer, but just from your perspective, why are the avenues different? Why are we held back and doors aren't open?
So that's a great question. I think there is an educational issue, with encouraging women in general, and then women of color in general at the right times in the educational model. For engineering, middle school is absolutely the critical time, because of math.
Yes,
it's all because of math. And so if anybody's listening, if you want an engineer and for your children to be an engineer, you have to get them in the right math in middle school. It's almost impossible to catch up. You can catch up in science and in all of the other STEM fields, but math is really the avenue to get to engineering. So there's just an educational barrier, I think, in general, for anyone, if they don't make the right decisions. I can't think of any other profession that if you don't make the right decision in middle school, that you can't even get there. Yeah. So that's, one issue, obviously. But I think there's probably partially a self-select out when you don't see yourself represented.
Yes.
Then, I loved playing soccer as a young girl, and I was pretty good, but I didn't see the Women's World Cup until after I'd selected out of being a soccer player. I was there's no future in that. And now, of course, I follow the U.S. women's team all over. I fly places to go watch them play because I love them so much. So, so there's the lack of representation then has people select out. Well, I can't be that because I don't see that. And that's a negative self-perpetuating problem that, without seeing representation, that's what, representation matters. It absolutely matters so much.
It does. Yes, it does. Absolutely.
It's critical. So it's like baby steps. You have to be, there always has to be the first to do this, the first to do that. I mean, I hired the first woman, and outside of me, the first woman at Ruby as an engineer, and I hired her in 2003.
Yeah.
So it's crazy that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Anyway, so I think there's educational barriers. I think there's representation barriers.
Yeah.
And then I think once people maybe get past all that and get into the profession, whatever engineering field they're in or STEM field, it's maybe not a supportive environment for whatever reason. A gender barrier, a color barrier of not understanding and not being, it's a lot of white men managing things. And there's just blind spots of how that affects a person feeling welcome in an environment
and belonging.
Yes.
And that would be something that's really irrespective of engineering or field, right? I mean,
absolutely.
We are as Black and brown women challenged irrespective of the industry. But what I often tell my listeners, my followers, and my clients that I work with in my business, the T, is that relationships are everything. Relationships are everything. And that is something I know. I mean, that's why we titled this The Importance of Allyship, because you just stated, white men are the decision makers. They're the ones still, the majority hold the majority of the seats. At the CEO seats. I mean, we've got Mary Barra, we've got people. I mean, it's happening, right, from a women's perspective, but we have a long way to go. So they're the majority of seat holders. So allyship relationship is extremely, extremely important. So, Tricia, what would you offer? I mean, if you have a group of women listening, what would you offer from your perspective on how they could go about making the connection, building the relationship, getting advocators and supporters?
No, I would agree with you that relationships are everything. Mentors might not be in your own company. They might be outside of your company. And I think that that's really important. I had a mentor outside of Ruby who was also in a family business. And so she was able to relate to me in some of the challenges I had in taking over my father's business, working with another family member, and the challenges that has. That there's things that I couldn't talk to somebody in my own business about. So I do think it's always helpful to have somebody on the outside, especially if you're in leadership, because they say it's lonely at the top. It's whatever top is for you.
Yes.
There's sometimes a level that you can't talk to somebody in your own business about that struggle. Yeah. You might think you can go to your boss with something, but they're also managing your career. So how honest, I don't like there to be secrets between relationships like that, but I think there also has to be a recognition that you're always being evaluated.
Yes.
And so if you bring up something, I can't even give an example, but it might not be the best to bring it up to somebody at your own business. So to have those outside networks, that isn't necessarily a girlfriend, but a professional that is on a different path at a different company. I think that's really important. I've joined, Leadership Detroit was an amazing experience. So and there are leadership groups like that I think all over the country that chambers of commerce provide. Mm-hmm. So there's Leadership Oakland and there's Leadership Macomb here in Detroit. There's Leadership Detroit, which is amazing. But I've heard of those programs throughout the country. So whatever the viewership of this is, I would seek those out. You need a sponsor generally from your company to pay for that because there is a tuition for that. Mm-hmm. But it was really also a life-changing experience because it's some for-profit business. It's nonprofit businesses. It's people they really do a great job of getting a cross-section of people in every walk of life. And just hearing those different experiences was extremely valuable. So, I would recommend people seek out, which is a totally different network. For me, it's totally different people I would never, ever would have come across. And I'm so thankful that I went through that program because it really exposed me to different people, different thought processes, totally different expertise that I'm like, oh, I can call on that if I need that.
Absolutely. And I think that's great advice because I know I have over the years gotten great benefit at broadening my network to the point you just made about mentorship, that I'm able to pick up the phone or send a text or drop an email and actually share a situation that I'm in with someone in my network that's outside of the company I'm working at currently. And they can give some input that's a fresher perspective, a different way of looking at it. So I think that's extremely powerful advice. And mentors definitely don't have to come within the four walls of the company that you're
Right.
at. A mentorship is extremely important to have. I have them, still you have them, I have them. I don't think you ever stop having mentors in your career.
And
What
can I
about,
say one more thing? I
oh,
want to just say,
absolutely.
people should not be afraid to ask for help or ask for advice. I think there are so many people who are energized by helping, by connecting. And, you know, I've gotten to a point in my career. I mean, I've always felt like I always just want other people to be successful. And so you rarely are going to have people be like, yeah, I can't help you. I mean, I really feel like as you're creating a network, you're creating a network around other people who are also trying to create their network. So they're in that room
Yes.
because they're already vested in that and they know the
Yes.
value of that.
Yeah.
So, there's a green light already. And I
Yeah.
think people should take advantage of that.
Yeah, that's great advice. We tend to tell ourselves what's not possible, right? Or
Mm-hmm.
nah, they're not going to help me, especially if they don't look like me. I mean, if they people watching you and I right now, I mean, they probably if they saw us in a room, they wouldn't think the two of us were connected. You know what I'm saying? Just I
Right.
mean, we look so totally different, yet we are extremely connected. Our networks are intertwined. We've supported each other, as I mentioned earlier, and spotlighted. Help put the
Right.
spotlight on each other, recognizing, letting people know what we're each about. So it's definitely important to understand that 9 times out of 10, the answer will be yes. Yes, I'll help you. There's no doubt about that. I
Yeah.
want to just, I mean, it's already time just
I
flies
know. I just looked
by
at the clock.
with
I couldn't
these
believe
lives.
it.
I know time just goes by so fast because these conversations are so poignant, so deep, and so meaningful. This one is extremely meaningful. I know I want to kind of wrap our session together, Tricia, really kind of diving in a little bit deeper into allyship. Black women struggle with that because they're not sure. And I even have some white women come to me as they're mentees of mine. They're like, Linda, I want to help, but I want, can I say this? What can I not say? I mean, just all this super sensitivity that exists right now, rather than like you and I do, we just sit and have a conversation. You know what I mean? We just open up and talk. But when you're trying to get to know someone and support someone, it can be a little challenging. What would you offer to someone who's saying, yeah, I hear you, allyship, but how do I find a Tricia Ruby? I mean, what do I look for? How do I identify that it's real? That this person truly is opening a door for me. I know several things that I have looked for. I would love for you to share from your perspective what makes someone an ally and the right ally, a good ally.
Oh, that's a good question. I mean, it has to be somebody like I said, I'm so nervous about this whole conversation because like I'm the white woman and I should just shut up and listen. Like there's a lot to learn from other people's experience. So
Yeah.
I mean, an ally needs to be somebody who empathizes and
Yes.
doesn't try to make excuses for what you're experiencing and
Yes.
validates what you're experiencing.
Yes.
Um, uh, oh, um,
I know you're
there,
struggling because you want to just say what's on your heart and you should
yeah,
just say it.
it's just, it's a privilege to learn about racism and not, experience it. right? So that's
Yeah,
from where I come
you're
from.
very
That,
privileged. Yeah.
right? I'm very
Yeah.
privileged that I
Yeah.
have to watch a documentary about it. Um, so I feel like being an ally is really listening
Yeah.
and using whatever privilege that I have to help open a door or help somebody be heard, but not to speak for somebody.
Right.
So
Yes.
that's the type of ally that I would look for. Um, that's a
No, I mean, I love that because, we do tend to find people who want to make it something that it's not, or to lessen it, or to, with the experiences that we have, or the fact that, I had to interview 8 times for an opportunity and I had to bring evidence of my work product that was on the resume. And this is my real life experience. And that when they, checked my degrees and saw that I went to Carnegie Mellon, they were just like flabbergasted, like that couldn't have been true on my resume. I mean, that just, what I'm saying, it just couldn't
yes,
be
I
true.
do.
And
I
so
do.
and
Yes.
and so to I mean, I think your point is so valid, and so perfect and spot on. And to have you say that, recognize that is exactly the type of ally. That's why our relationship is as strong as it is, because you are not that white woman that, is saying, "Oh, Linda, that couldn't have happened," or "You've got to get over it." But no, no, you listen and then you go about doing what you can do to change things while not trying to, and I love how you said that, while not trying to speak on my behalf, because you can't, right? I
No.
mean, you can't. So I think that's what's so important in our careers as brown and black women, as we're trying to move forward in our careers, because I'm telling all of you that are listening, can't do this thing alone. I mean, let's be real. I've has said on many occasions, no man is an island. No man is an island. Used to be a song I sang in high school in the choir, and the words of it are so true. And we do this career journey with people along our way, be them supporters, advocates, sponsors, allies, because we've got it. The sum of it all is beneficial for the career journey, for us to get to that, our whatever that seat at the table that we aspire to get. And that's why it's so important. That's why I wanted to talk about it in this live. And Tricia, I thank you so very much. You were very kind. What I really love about you, Tricia, and I've shared, is that you're real. I mean, you don't, and I know you were nervous about this conversation, but you were nervous out of respect for how important the subject matter was, right? And I love that about you. You weren't dismissive about this. You just didn't get on and mention a bunch of quotes. You're speaking from the heart, and it's important to you, and you wanted to respect it. And I thank you for that. And I thank you for your
Absolutely.
time today. So, any of you, you've heard these wonderful things that this woman's doing. There's more information about her that's in the notes if you want to get to know Tricia a little more, like I have. And you may even see her at one of these future events out in the community, doing the service that she does on a regular basis here in the Detroit metro area. And if you do, if you're at an event like she said and you see her, walk over and introduce yourself. Add her to your network. That's part of what we talked about. She'd be a great mentor too. So, Tricia, again, thank you so much for spending the time today and for
It was
being my ally.
my
I
pleasure. I love you
greatly
so much.
appreciate you. Love you more.